Hello, my friends. Today we have another debate on whether Christians should and can eat meat or not, or whether maybe they should become vegans. Today I'm meeting another YouTuber who is basically Christian YouTuber. He is not anti-vegan. He's not vegan either. Could you please introduce yourself?
All right. Hello and shalom to everyone. My name is Kofi. Just want to be all inclusive a little bit. So, hello to the vegans, to the carnists, to the atheists, to the theists, and to the agnostic. My name is Kofi Amanfo. I am a Christian apologetist. I am from Italy. I was born and I grew up in Italy in a mostly Catholic. I attended mostly Catholic churches as well as non-denominational churches. Currently, right now, I am in Leicester, England. I am studying criminology with psychology in the Montfort University in Leicester. And so today, along with Veganica, we will discuss a little bit on the morality of Christians eating meat, or maybe Christians partaking in a vegan diet and a vegetarian lifestyle. And I, as a Christian, I will point out and highlight what the Bible says on the matter. So, apart from being a Christian apologetist and I've always had interest. I've always been very, very curious, extremely curious in the history, in theology, in mysticism, because I strongly believe that valid answers to the origins of humankind are both below our feet and above our heads. So today, me and Veganica, we will discuss a bit on this issue and make some clarifications. Now, without doubt, it's becoming a common consensus that food is like a language. Food is like a language that has a religious and cultural significance for people, for individuals to bond with like-minded people. But you see, it has come to my notice that most times people seem nowadays to jeopardize their health on the basis of their own belief, and oftentimes as well due to wrong interpretations and perceptions of facts. So, without further ado, let's begin. Firstly, let me clarify something. I am neither against veganism or carnism, but I rather stand at an intermediate line, and that is, I am omnivorous. I believe that a well-balanced plant and animal diet could be very optimal for the body because the body does need both plant and animal protein to have an optimal function for the skeletal system and the muscle function. Now, as a Christian, I really enjoy reading the Bible and searching for information in the Bible. But of course, I avoid cherry picking certain Bible verses because you see, a mistake I have noticed that most vegetarian Christians do is they cherry pick Bible verses to fit to support their arguments. But some distinctions and clarifications need to be made between the Old Testament and the New Testament because certain laws and observations which were done in the Old Testament are not quite applicable in the New Testament. You see, because in the New Testament, the coming of Christ brought a paradigm shift and a dispensation. The coming of Christ actually brought a paradigm shift and dispensation to certain laws and practices. You see, um, most I have noticed as well that most vegetarian Christians seem to use the books of the one of the letters of Apostle Paul, which is in the First Corinthians 8, chapter 8, verse 13, which goes this way. So, Venica, I'm just going to read the Bible verse for people to understand. This is the main Bible verse I have noticed that vegetarian Christians use to support their argument. And here it goes. Wherefore, if meat makes my brother to offend, I will eat no flesh. For while the world standeth, lest I make my brother to offend. I think it's important to read it a second time just to have an idea of what Apostle Paul actually meant. Wherefore, if meat makes my brother to offend, I will eat no flesh, while the world standeth, lest I make my brother to offend. Now, most vegetarian Christians seem to interpret this Bible passage and use this as a valid reason to claim that even Apostle Paul said that we could be vegetarians. But in actual sense, In actual sense, Apostle Paul, for Apostle Paul, abstaining from eating meat was just a way of showing respect and not offending a vegetarian community. It was a way of not offending a vegetarian brotherhood. He never really said it was an explicit command from God. That is why he said, I will eat no flesh while the world standeth. He was referring to the particular circumstances in which if a Christian found himself in the presence of a vegetarian brotherhood or community, he, for the sake of not offending anyone, in that instance, he would not eat meat. But he never said it was an explicit command from God. He just said it was a way of not offending a brother or a community. Do you get me?
Yes, I get you. What is your perception of animals? Are they our brothers? Are they children of God? Are they the
Um,
creature? Do God love animals equally to humans?
yeah, of course, does love animals equally. I mean, God does love animals, but you see, in God has made hierarchies as well. Just because animals are sentient, they're capable of feeling pain and sometimes have emotions, that doesn't place them at the same level with humans. I have noticed that vegans seem to place animals at the same level with humans, which is not
Absolutely,
right. If you
absolutely.
personally, I do not
Because
believe
they
in
are.
the
Yeah, okay, please go. I don't want
okay.
to stop.
Personally, I do not believe in the theory of evolution, huh? But I believe that actually humans are primates. We are not at the same level with humans, but we are not at the same level with animals. The mistake most vegans make, which I've noticed, is they seem to place animals at the same hierarchy, at the same level with humans, but we are not. We are not at the same level. You
But we are,
see,
excuse me, but we are at the same level in sentience, in experiencing pain, fear, emotions, love. There is no difference. The only difference is the quantity of our brain cells. We have linear thinking, which in my opinion is very low function. Linear thinking, causality, logic. This is a linear thinking which animals don't have developed that much. But actually, me personally, I don't appreciate too much. I think if about awareness, both we are aware. It is proven scientifically that animals are conscious and self-conscious. They have consciousness. I think
yeah.
in many situations they are higher than us if about the level of awareness. They are much more aware of surrounding because their senses are much higher, so we have no even idea how much aware they are. We are
Um,
far not as aware as they are of current situation. This
yeah,
is
but
something
you
what we
see,
are meditating for, to reach the animals level. We can learn a lot from the animals about being aware, being
um,
present,
actually, I
enjoy
disagree.
life, experience life. I think
I
animals experience life more purely than us. What
well,
doesn't
the
mean
good
that I want to say they are higher. I would say they are different. They have some different functions. Some functions are they have developed, they have higher developed, some are lower. But we are no better than them, or not lower, not less than
Well,
them.
but you see, if you read the book of Genesis, chapter one, you will realize that God actually gave man dominion over animals, and as a matter of fact, it was Adam who named the animals. You get it?
And this
You get
is,
it?
yeah, and this is what
It
made
was
me
Adam.
stop being a Christian. I am not Christian anymore because of those things. This is in so deeply in contradiction with the idea of justice, of just God, of all the features
See,
we are described the God with,
you
that
see,
as a
but
justice, as
hi,
love, as yes.
but you see, hierarchies are present everywhere. Hierarchies are always present. You see, in God's eyes, man comes first, then animals and nature. I know
Where
it's
is woman? Do
as
you know that
humans.
woman also is not at this,
You
woman
see,
is
okay,
usually at the
let
same
me
position as animals, as slaves. You
let
must
me let
also,
all right
that
to make
slavery also is
to,
sanctioned by the Bible. Slavery is
yeah.
okay. Hmm.
But you see, as everything in the Bible, you have to look at the historical era in which it was done, which is totally different. The coming of Christ brought a dispensation to certain laws. You get it? Let me ask you a question. Huh?
Yes.
You said for vegans, you said vegans place animals at the same level with
I
humans.
place no, not all vegans. Many vegans say that human is higher. They just only want to have mercy on animals.
All
Many
right. So
vegans,
let me
but
ask you.
me personally, I put them at the same level. Of course, we are different, but not more important or less important.
All
Not
right.
we are not more sentient than they are. I think they are experiencing fear before death much more than we are because we can rationalize. For example, we have so many thoughts because of our linear thinking.
So to you,
Before we die, we can
so to you,
comfort
if you,
ourselves like, oh, I will go to heaven. But animals, for them, it's something unimaginable. It's
so
for
for
me
in, for in,
unacceptable what we are doing to them.
so for instance, if a man is starving, a man is literally starving and has no food, and he kills a cow to feed himself and his family, you think he has committed a crime if he's literally starving?
This is same like in law there are how do you call it in English, those special circumstances when you can commit crime but your
It is
guilt
not.
is lower.
It is not.
uh,
From
it
a
is
Christian.
okay. It is same as allowed as much and
See,
same as justified as you can somebody will eat fellow brother another human. In
all
many
right,
places in the world when there was a hunger, people were eating one another, so that's the same situation.
all right. Then let me ask you something else. I have something
Yes.
else to ask you. Do you as a vegan actually realize that in the animal kingdom, even animals prey on each other. Even animals
Yes,
eat each
of
other.
course I know. But
Do you know?
you
Do you
said
know
that
that?
we are higher, and I agree that some functions we are high, we are higher. We have our brains is bigger. Our awareness, understanding is bigger. So I have the right to expect more from us.
You know,
I expect more from humans. So what animals do, it's like little children, small children. Small children also sometimes do stupid things, and we automatically forgive them because they don't understand. They just they act automatically, instinctively. But
you see,
from bigger child, I expect more. I expect some
but
understanding.
but you see, if you read the book of Genesis chapter 9, do you have a second? Let me just read it a bit. The book of
Yes.
Genesis chapter 9, and one more time, I need to emphasize on the historical period, which is something very important. If you read the Bible, you will realize that before the flood,
Mm-hmm.
men were actually vegetarians. You see, I do partly agree with you on the fact that men were mostly vegetarians before the flood. But after the flood, in the days of Noah, here is what God says: "And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herbs I have given you, all things. But the flesh with life thereof, which is the blood, ye shall not eat." You see, in this Bible passage, this was shortly after the flood in which the old world was destroyed because of the sins of man. God permits, he gives a permission to Noah and his family to eat meat. However, he does kind of give them some instructions, which is never to eat an animal who is alive with blood. But he does give them the permission to eat flesh. He does give them the permission to eat meat. Let me read it once more, one more
Yeah,
time.
I know exactly this. You don't need
Yeah.
to read once more because I know it. And
And this
yeah,
is a
this
passage
is
vegans seem to ignore for some certain reasons. I don't know why they seem to ignore this.
Noah. How do you pronounce his name in English? Noah?
Noah, Noah,
Noah.
Noah. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
okay. So Noah was the best of humans. So he survived, and the whole humankind was
Destroyed.
killed, was
Yeah.
destroyed by Godfather. But we know about Noah that he was an alcoholic. There is
Well,
another
just
very, very problematic thing with
he
Noah,
was not an
and his son Ham. Do you pronounce his name Ham?
yeah. He was not
For
an
me, this is not justice at all because who was guilty? Noah, who drank to death. He was, and sleeping naked. I think the guilt was on him. He was guilty.
yeah. But
But
you're
uh,
actually you're actually diverting a little bit. From the
sorry?
you are actually diverting a little bit. I mean, we're talking about What do you think of this verse in which God allowed man to eat
So
meat?
I think it's a mistake at the roots because first of
Why?
all,
God
Noah
doesn't make
was
mistakes.
not better than anybody. He was like one
No,
of the worst
he was
humans you
no,
may
he wasn't
ever
the worst.
meet. He's
Noah
was
wasn't the
a
worst. He was
horrible
the
person. He
Noah wasn't an
put a
horrible
curse
person.
on his son because he saw him drunk, but he was drunk.
No, no,
So
you have to.
this is wrong. Like
No,
everything is wrong in this chapter in general. So
no,
like
it's not
as
wrong. Let me.
whole, I must reject this chapter.
You can't
Uh,
reject the Bible. You
but
can't cherry
excuse me,
pick. You see, you can't
yes,
cherry
but
pick. You
yeah,
can't cherry pick. You
all
see
right.
that?
But let me
You
tell you
can't cherry
something
pick.
because I am Polish, and Jews were trading Polish nation as slaves, and they were treating as slaves
Sorry,
for
is
many.
there?
But let me tell you something. Let me tell you the story because this is actually the story of my nation. Because Jews, they explain why they have right to treat us as slaves and they trade. Why they until now they feel they have rights to our land, because they think we are
Is
sons, grandsons of Ham. And the Ham's guilt was that he saw his father drunk. In my
is
opinion,
there? Is
it
there
was
any historical proof for what you
Noah
just said
was
now?
drunk. It was his guilt, not his son, that he saw him.
You
So,
you just
like
said
everything is wrong in that chapter, I would say.
I disagree. You just said something now. You said Jewish people traded Polish as slaves. Is
Yes,
that
for
historically
many
accurate? Is that
ages.
is that
For the
historically
whole Middle
accurate?
Ages, they said they have rights to those lands.
But
They have
uh,
biblical reasons to treat us as slaves.
no,
And Paul, look,
that is that's
what is the origin of the word slave? Slavic people means Polish. The word
I
slave comes from Polish, Slavic people. They called us slaves. Slavic people means slaves because we are, in their interpretation, we are the
But
grandsons
you
of Ham.
realize that you realize that most some Polish were Jews actually in the Second World War. There were some Jewish Polish people as well.
Yeah, yes.
Are you trying to tell me
Therefore,
that they were not Jews?
we had a huge Jewish community in Poland because they
All
came.
right,
They thought
but
this
you
is
see,
they have
you
rights
see,
to our land, and
you
of
see.
course we
Let us
lived
not
together for
let us
many
not kind of
ages.
let us not go out of topic and start talking about conflicts. What do you think of Genesis chapter 9, in which God finally permitted man to eat meat?
I reject it like fully that there is
You're
mistake
cherry picking there.
originally, and
You're cherry
also
picking.
another mistake. There is a description that they took to ark all the species of the animals, but
Yeah,
there are many millions of species. So we
not
know
really.
that it
God,
is
not really. God said two kinds of every each
of every,
of
but
every,
there are
not
many
not two
millions of
kinds. No,
species. So
no,
it's not
not
possible.
species. No, this is you see. We need to clarify some certain things. God said two kinds of each, not two species. Do you? Let me give you an example.
Like
Please listen,
male and
listen.
female, but of
Listen.
each species.
No, two of each kind. Listen. A lion and a tiger. What do they have in common?
No, they are cats. So you want to say that they took
Yes,
just one
yes.
cat?
A lion and the tiger. They are two different species, right? What do they have in common?
They belong what
To
we
the cat
call in
family.
Polish as cats.
They belong to the cat family.
Yes.
In biology, they belong to the same kingdom, Felidia. Felidia. They are all felines. Yes, they are different species, but they are all felines. And if both tigers and lions, despite being from different species, they are all in the kingdom Felidia, which is in the cat family, that simply means that thousands of years ago, they all had the same ancestors. The reason why they look different today is due to environmental adaptation. With time, they all moved to different environments and they developed different phenotypes. But they're all basically cats. They're all still cats. Different species, no doubt, but they're all still cats. They all belong in the same kingdom, Felidia. This simply means that thousands of years ago, they all originated from one cat. You get it?
So you think
You
that
get it?
they evolved into cat, lion, and tiger, and many
You see,
cheetah, and many other within just
exactly.
thousands of years?
Yes, it's possible. It happened with humans. It's gonna happen. It happened with animals as well. You get it? There is, as I've said, Christians seem kind of to misinterpret the Bible at times. This is the big problem. I study the Bible a lot of times because honestly I had a lot of doubt in the past. But I keep studying and studying. And mind you, the Bible as we see it today is not really complete. There are some Bible books, apocryphal book they're called, which
Mhm.
are present in the Catholic Bible, but not in the King James Version. You see? So we need to study and research. But you see, let us not try to kind of go out of topic. And one more thing I need to clarify to people. It is true that the initial plan for man, God's primal plan for man was for man to be vegetarian. I do agree with you on that. You get me? God's
Yes, yes, I
initial
know that
God's
some vegans are
God's
using this argument.
Yeah, let me read the famous verse which vegans use, which is Genesis 1, verse 29 to 30. And God said, "See, I have given every plant yielding seed that is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food, and to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has the breath of life, I have given every green plant for food." And it was so. So, clearly and without doubt, this Bible passage does prove that God's initial plan and primal plan was for man and animals to be vegetarians. I agree with you on that, which is true. But you see, you have to look at the historical context. This was way before the flood. Even this world, as we see the world today, was very different before the flood. If you read Genesis chapter 1, you realize that in the skies there was a firmament of water. In the skies there was a firmament of water that served as an hyperbaric chamber. This simply means that there was more oxygen on earth in those days. That is why animals and plants were bigger. And that is why, if you notice before the flood, men lived longer. You know that very well in the Bible. Men lived for up to 900 years before the flood. You know that. Men lived, and the main reason why they lived that long, which is something all biblical historians agree, is because there was a firmament of water above the sky that served as an hyperbaric chamber. And we all know that more oxygen equals longevity. More oxygen equals more physical growth and longevity. That is why prehistoric animals were bigger, were gigantic, and had hair. And that is why the Bible says there were giants in those days, because there was more oxygen on earth in ancient times. And that is why men lived longer before the flood. It was just shortly after the flood that life started shortening. You get it? So
Mhm.
we need to take in consideration the historical era in which God permitted men were mostly vegetarians. That was before the flood. The conditions on earth were pretty much better than it was today. That is why they lived longer before the flood. They lived up to 900 years. Noah himself was 600 when the flood occurred. You see, the earth was very different. But after the flood, things changed. Things really changed. That is when God permitted man to eat meat. That is when the firmament of water disappeared and wasn't present on earth again. And that is when life started shortening. You get this?
But
You
do
get
you know also how historically also farming practices are changing? Because maybe I am afraid that when you mean mm, farming animals, slaughtering animals, I am not sure whether you are aware what are the practices and how how cruel it is. I don't know whether you are aware of a
you
degree of
mean you mean
cruelness.
in the slaughterhouses, right?
Sorry, yes,
You
and
mean
not only in slaughterhouses, in also
abattoirs?
in farms. Have you seen the movie
I, I have
Dominion?
I have no, I've not seen the movie, but I've seen some slaughterhouses. How the procedures, I've seen it. You see, but if you just give a look to any slaughterhouse, you realize that they do kill animals as quick as possible. They do not touch it.
Actually, no. I think our conversation is not full because I consider you as a person who is unaware, who just
No,
buy the meat in the
I
shop, and you don't know what it is. For you, this is a piece of meat, and you don't know
no.
how huge suffering is behind this meat. And for God, who is more aware than us, this piece is a piece of agony, a piece of fear, agony, suffering in a pure form. I don't think you are aware what is the
No, I am
scale
a,
of this
I am a,
suffering. Do
I
you
am a,
know how many billions
I
of
am, I
animals we
am,
are killing yearly?
I am aware of this. But you see, perceptions differs from person to person. What seems cruel to you, huh? You see, the discussion of veganism and animal rights, it's
Mhm.
very subjective, huh? What seems cruel to you may not seem cruel to me. Let me explain something to you.
But no. So you always must try on yourself. You think this is not, it doesn't sound cruel to you if somebody hangs you upside down and you are
Humans,
deadly scared.
humans,
Somebody's aggressive and kicking you in the meantime, maybe punch you some once a while, and then cut your throat. This doesn't sound cruel to you. You must always imagine you on this position of the
but,
victim.
and I won't. You know why I won't? Because I am not at the same level with an animal. I don't place animals. You see that I believe there
So
are
they are
hierarchies.
allowed to experience
God has
this.
God has given man dominion over animals. God has given man dominion over animals. That
Okay,
doesn't that
now
doesn't that
very
doesn't mean I will
important
place an
question.
animal at the same level with me.
So you think that God took a due from or made a debt towards animals. So now God is owing animals a lot. And we cannot call this kind of God
What do you mean by God?
justice
What do you mean by God is owing animals? What do you mean by God is?
because, okay, so they were in peaceful non existence.
That was before the flood. Yes.
No, look, animals, before they came to this world, they were in, let's say, because there can be different options also, but let's suppose they were in peaceful non-existence.
No, wait a
And
second.
because
Wait a
he
second. You
made
said
us,
before they
but
came into this
let me
world.
finish, let me develop. Because he created us as his children, so he has the right to take somebody out from his peaceful non-existence, put to this hell, and make him suffer each second of his life. Suffer until his throat is cut to feed his children. Do you think even God has this right to do it?
Let me ask you something, huh?
Yes.
When Adam and Eve sinned and made clothes made of figs, huh? What how did God clothe them? These
You
clothes,
want to say that he gave them skin?
skin of animal. God was the first that
So did
that
he?
that.
Okay, did he have the right to do this?
Of course, He's the creator. He created everything.
So he has the right to create somebody just to make him suffer? You think so? He has the
Because
right
whatever
to take somebody
humans
from
do,
peaceful non-existence and make him suffer?
God has the right, of course, and whatever humans do, God judges the reason for our actions. He judges the reason for our actions. Huh? There is a big difference between a man who is sadistic by nature. You see, I do agree with you that animal abuse is a sin. Poking an animal just for the pleasure of doing it is a sin. There is no doubt about that. You see,
So
whatever you
I
do,
must tell you that farms are sinful, completely sinful.
no, it
There is a
all
pure
depends.
sin there.
It all depends on the reason for our actions. If you poke an animal just for the sake of doing it for a sadistic need, that's a sin because the spirit of God cannot be in a person who enjoys doing violent things. That's I agree with you on that. But if you want to feed yourself, if you're starving of hunger and you have a family to feed, and you kill an animal to eat your, to feed yourself and your family, that's not a sin in God's eyes. Whatever you do, it's based on the reason for your action, on your thoughts. There is a big difference between, let's say, beating a dog, poking it all the time just for the pleasure of doing it and for a sadistic need. That is pure, that is a sin. But if you want to kill an animal, a cow, to feed your family and yourself, that's not a sin. That's not a sin. You see, a vegetarian diet on its own does not guarantee health and long life.
It guarantees the best health.
No, it
So
doesn't. It doesn't.
vegans are better health, but
It
we are not
doesn't.
going to talk about health, okay, today because this is too huge topic.
It
Better
doesn't.
not even start it. Okay, no,
No,
let's not talk about
it's
this.
a mix of
I'm
it's a
asking
mix
you,
of
do
both.
you call the God? Doesn't Jesus call the God justice and love?
No.
But justice, first of all, I think over the whole Bible, God has always been called justice.
Uh-huh.
Yes?
Yeah.
And the justice, what it means, justice means giving back to everybody what he deserves, what he has done to others. He is supposed to get back. So why do animals deserve to suffer that extremely? Because this is extreme, unimaginable suffering what we are giving them. Why God should let this? Why animals deserve this kind of fate?
Don't humans suffer as well?
But humans are not as innocent as animals. But also they do. But we are
And
not
that's why
innocent. Animals are innocent.
we're not at the same level with animals. There are hierarchies. God has given man
What,
dominion
what
over
does it mean
animals.
that we are higher? It has no meaning. So
means
one person
means
is also higher
let,
than
let
another. Is a richer person higher than poor? Is more intelligent higher than less intelligent?
let,
Many animals are more intelligent than many human.
no, no, I
Yes.
disagree.
So do you know
I
that
disagree.
the
You
pig
see,
is
this
as
is why.
intelligent as kindergarten child, and
No,
many adults are
no,
not. Many have
no.
Alzheimer. They are
This is why.
retarded
This is
people.
this is the main reason why I see vegans as a social justice warriors. That is how I see vegans as social justice warriors, not as people who reason in a rational way. You can't place animals at the same level with humans. We are not the same. In
We don't
Genesis
have to be the same. To be merciful, you don't need to consider somebody the same. For example, my child is slightly autistic. He's not the same as me, but it doesn't mean that I will, slap him once a while because he's not
are
as
you are
developed
you
as me. I still love him, and I have much understanding for all people who are lower developed or less intelligent, capable, handicapped, retarded, or whatever. And it doesn't give me any right to kill them or harm them because I am more intelligent.
are you 100% vegan?
Vegan, I'm a vegan.
Do you make use of honey?
No, I don't. I don't eat honey.
Do you use shampoos and conditioners on your hair? You just use
Sorry?
shampoo on your. You make use of shampoos and conditioners on your hair.
Whether I wash my hair? Yes, I wash my hair.
No, I didn't say whether you wash your hair. That's obvious. You obviously
Yes.
wash your hair. But
So
what I am asking you, is
yes,
do you make use of shampoos on your hair and conditioners for your hair? You make use of
conditioner.
that. Yeah.
Conditioner. Yes, I use conditioner.
Shampoos and conditioner on your hair, right? You make
Yes.
use of.
Cosmetics.
But
You meant cosmetics? Yes.
let me read this for you. According to PETA, non-profit organization, the People for the Ethical Treatment of
Yes.
Animals,
Yes. We know
they
it. Oh, yes.
realized that more than 20 components from animals could be found in shampoos, panthenol or amino acid and vitamins. If whenever you read panthenol or amino acid in a bottle, it can be either from an animal or a plant source, which is hard to tell. You're not even 100% vegan. You get it?
Yes, yes, we
It
are
is
aware of this. We are of this
it
that
is
this is not
impossible.
possible. This
It
is
is
like
literally
our goal. This is our goal.
literally
Actually,
impossible to be
yeah, this
100%
is
vegan.
impossible. Fully, it's impossible. Not in the circumstances, in the society where we go to the shop. You are right. We don't know what are ingredients or where the ingredients are coming from. We are not aware. Only what we are aware is that we consciously we can avoid buying meat, eggs, dairy, and such products where obviously the ingredients are ingredients, eggs, for example. Yes, so this we can do, but of course there are many situations we have no influence on. And actually I'm fighting also with this kind of vision that veganism only means to avoid buying. I think it's more about being active and working for changing awareness, people awareness. People should be more aware about, more sensitive. So I think it's also a lot about politics,
You
because
see,
animals' fate is basically dependent on political decisions. So
I
it's
think I think most vegans are just self-righteous. You see, they are just self-righteous. Just because I am a meat eater, although I'm omnivorous, I eat both meat and plants. But just because someone eats meat, there is no need to make him look like a villain. There is no need to make someone. There's no need to point fingers and trying to be self-righteous and make people who eat meat as paint them as monsters.
majority of vegans don't do it.
Oh no,
Majority
I
don't do
disagree.
it.
Most do it. Just take a look at some
Maybe
YouTube
because you
videos.
live in UK currently. So I think in UK the veganism is much more maybe lively. They are
They
much more.
they tend to
Uh,
add sanctimonious all the
yeah,
time.
in my country nobody is doing this. Yes. So there are maybe different attitudes. Maybe it depends whom you've met. May I also read quotes from the Bible which I prepared, or you will tell me that I am cherry picking?
Well, just wait. You're cherry
Okay,
picking,
maybe you will
obviously.
tell me I
You're
am cherry
cherry picking,
picking because
obviously.
I
But
am cherry picking, because yes, I I can officially claim that there are parts,
as
especially
most vegans
Jesus'
do.
words, which I find inspirational, positive, and have a meaningful message. And there are especially Old Testament parts which I just reject.
You
So
see,
okay, I will cherry pick,
just
and
a
I will.
second. Always have in mind, always have in mind that the coming of Jesus brought a dispensation to some certain practices. Dispensation simply means an exclusion. It excluded some certain laws of the Old Testament. Now go on. Just go on.
I will give you two examples, but there are lots of these kind of chapters. For example, one Sabbath, Jesus was going through the grain fields, and his disciples began to pick some heads of grain, rub them in their hands, and eat the kernels. Some of the how do you pronounce it?
Pharisees.
Pharisees asked, "Why are you doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath?" Jesus answers them, "Have you never read that?" Okay, so that David did it, okay, but this is not important. But I want the further ninth verse. Then
You
Jesus
see,
said to
Jesus
them,
brought dispensation.
"Yes,
Jesus brought a
but look."
dispensation. He
Then
was about to
Jesus
give them
asked
an.
them, "I
Okay, go
ask
on.
you, which is lawful on the Sabbath, to do good or to do evil, to save life or to destroy it?" So Jesus, same as me, made a claim that human by nature has ability to judge which is good and which is wrong, which is evil.
You see, just if
Human
you read the
has the
verse.
right to save life. Doesn't matter what this is written in the Bible. When you are saving life, you're doing good.
Yeah, but you see, can I tell you something? Why I said you are cherry picking is because in the following verse you will read that Jesus said, "Who among you wouldn't save your child if he fell on a well, if he fell in a well on a Sabbath day?" If you read the following verse, he will say that.
The next verse is, he looked around at them and then he said, a strange outer hand, and put the Pharisee and the teacher and law were to begin discuss with one. I don't see. I see. Then blessings are
Well,
coming.
anyways,
Okay, I wanted to say that, please, I'm really begging you, please watch the movie Dominion. Just watch with open heart and say, is this
what's the
good
movie all
or
about?
this is evil?
I've never seen the movie Dominion. What's the
It's
trauma about it?
it's documentary movie. It's showing how it really looks in
You
farms,
see,
factory farms, which are majority where all the meat comes from.
yeah, but if it's a documentary, I assume it was made by vegans, and it's definitely a propaganda. You get it?
No, because I can show you other documentaries which are made by proud farmers, and you see it's exactly the same. When proud farmers, for example, American farmers, they show their farms proudly. You see that those chickens are so heavy that they are not able to walk on their legs. That their legs are broken. You see exactly the same conditions. So you see the same propaganda, but they are talking proudly. But when you look, oh my God, it's the same. So just you should just watch with your open heart. It just judge with your ability to judge whether this is evil or good, because Jesus assumed that we have the ability, natural ability to judge, is this evil or this is a good thing. So therefore, in my country, there is no contradiction between Christianity and veganism,
Um,
because most people are Christians and they are vegans as
you
well,
see,
because they
why?
just see this is bad, so they go vegan, and there is no contradiction. But
You
for
see,
example, in America, there seems to be contradiction.
as a Christian, I will
Yeah.
always give you answers which I take from the Bible, You
Mhm.
see, Apostle Paul, some close to 2,000 years ago, he basically predicted this, And this is what he says, if you read the book of Romans, this is what it says: the one who eats everything must not despise who doesn't, and the one who does not eat everything must not judge who does, for God accepted him. This is Apostle Paul speaking.
I
He,
know
he,
this.
he's
I know
basically
this.
he's basically trying. Apostle Paul was basically trying to be politically correct. He says, "Who doesn't eat shouldn't judge those who eat." Just he was trying to be diplomatic about it. Just don't judge. Try to be diplomatic and let God be the judge, and that's it. Apostle
I,
Paul wasn't
I
wasn't
agree
being
that we should be
confrontational.
diplomatic. I think we should just talk the way we are talking today. We are. I think there is
Apostle
no
Paul,
aggression between us. We
Apostle
are
Paul, who
talking
was Saint Paul,
peacefully.
Saint Paul, who was one of the greatest apostles, never pointed fingers. He simply said, "To God be the judge."
I also agree with this. I also think so. And I tell you honestly, I don't like when vegans are pointing that, for example, or someone, I don't know,
Yeah,
he
they act
even says he's
self-sacrifice.
vegan and he ate an egg. I don't like it because we don't know why today he ate it, what happened. we shouldn't do this. We should just focus on what is our goal and how to be better human and how to make the world better. I am against pointing fingers as well, and I don't like when some vegans do it. So on this, I agree with you. Let me read for you another paragraph. On one occasion, an expert in the law stood up to test Jesus. Teacher, he asked, what must I do to inherit eternal life? What is written? And Jesus replied, what is written in the law? He replied. How do you read it? He answered, love the Lord, the God, with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind. And love your neighbor as yourself. Expert, this said, and Jesus replied, you have answered correctly. Do this and you will live. But he wanted to justify himself and asked Jesus, and who is my neighbor? I think this is quite key thing about this whole discussion. Who is my neighbor? In reply, Jesus said, a man who was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away. Okay, so he saw something terrible happened to another person. Yes, so exactly what we can see when we watch what is happening to our fellow animals. Yes, they stripped him off and beat him and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too, a Levite or Levite, how do you pronounce it? Levite?
He was a Samaritan, actually. He's the story of the Good
Levite.
Samaritan.
The priest, another kind of priest. Yes,
Right,
so
just go on,
Levite,
just go on. Divide
when he
space.
came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. So he basically behaved like vegan. He saw misery, he saw harm, and he reacted accordingly. He went to
Yeah?
him and bandaged his wounds, pouring an oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper. Look after him, he said, and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have. Which of these three do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers? The expert in the law replied, the one who had mercy on him. Jesus told him, go and do likewise. So I think Jesus gave quite good description how we should act in our life. When you see harm, obvious harm, somebody's agony, your duty is to give
Let
hand,
me
to help, not just to pass by, and
let
that's
me ask you
natural.
something,
I
huh?
have,
Let me
yes,
ask you something, huh? If you
yes,
ever found a man in need begging in the street, huh? Huh?
yes,
And you
yes.
see a and just a few steps away you see a dog at the same terrible conditions, which one of the two will you help first?
You want to me to differentiate.
Which one of the two will you help first? The man who is starving and hungry, or a dog who is starving and hungry?
You know, my
Which one
answer
of
is
the
I
two?
would give help where I have a chance to give help. I am not
No,
sure
yeah.
what whether I can
So you place the life
provide
of
a
an
good
animal.
help for a stray dog. Can I take him home? I cannot do much for the dog. Yes. So
So you
basically,
see,
I can do what I am capable to do. For example, for begging man, probably I will give him just a coin or some money, and he will go and buy get some food. For a stray dog, probably it would be hardly possible to give him sufficient help. You know,
you
we
do
should
you know why
different
do you
in
know
this
why you
way. That
think
you
this
should
way?
help.
Do you know why you think this way? That's because humans are way different from animals. You get it? We are a place above animals. We are primates basically. We are primates. We are not at the same level with animals. This is
You
what
should
this is
never
what
use the argument of level.
Oh my goodness. This
Look,
is what
you are
this
a
is what I
black man.
disagree
Do
with.
you know that before white people were also telling this about you, that black people are not the same level as
Are
us?
you
Do you
are
agree
you
with
trying
this?
are you trying to equate skin color with being an animal?
I am trying to
See?
say that this kind of
Are
thinking
you
was
are you
already
trying to
applied and is being applied in many, also
are
for
you
women.
trying
Me as a woman, I'm also supposed not to be the same as men,
you can
yes?
you cannot equate skin color with an animal. It's not the same. You see? You cannot use that as an argument because it's not the same. Does having blonde hair and dark hair make a difference?
Yeah, it's
It's
a
not the same.
difference of color. It is different of color, yes. And
But
here
that
we
doesn't
have different of size of brain. So you think the size should matter? That we have bigger brain that, for example, monkey or gorilla, who is also actually, do you know that monkeys are
primates.
very certain brain functions are much better than ours. They have better
No,
memory.
no,
They have
no,
better
no,
memory. They do.
no. Goodness, this is wrong. There's a
This
reason
is
why humans.
scientifically
There's
proven. They have many
no.
functions. They have very higher than us.
Why are humans called primates then?
Monkeys are also primates.
Yeah, but we are both monkeys in intelligence. There is no point arguing about this. I mean,
But we cannot feel justified to give pain just because we are more intelligent as a species. It's because among us there are also people who are not intelligent. And a pig is same as intelligent as a child, like 3 years old child. So
what?
can you
Sorry,
murder a
what did you
child?
say? What did you say? A pig?
You can compare the intelligence of pig to the intelligence of 3 or 4 years old child. So can you kill
Does that
child
place a
because
four
he's
years
less
old child at
intelligent?
the same level with a pig? Does
Yes.
that place a 4 years old child at the same level with a kid? Does that make the life of a pig more important than that of a 4 years old
But
child?
why important? In my opinion, every soul, every living and feeling soul is infinitely important. Absolutely. The value is absolute, infinite for
If you read
every
the
living
Bible, if you read the
soul.
Bible, you will realize that God made man in His own image, and that's why we are valued more in God's eyes. Are you going to ignore this? That God made men and women in His own image. Are you going to ignore
Uh,
this, or will you cherry pick? Or will you cherry pick
First
one
of
more
all,
time?
I will not cherry pick. I will say God existed before time, and our kind of consciousness is type of consciousness which demand time and mass. Because we are operating in time, we have very special type of consciousness, exactly the same as animals. Because all of us, we operate in time. We process things in time. We react to stimuli from surrounding. We process in time. We have linear thinking, which means we are processing thoughts in time. God is completely different. So he has completely different type of consciousness. He was before space-time. He created space-time. So absolutely, his consciousness must be completely different type. So we have the same
Yeah,
type of
you
consciousness as animals.
you
We
yeah,
operate in time.
you haven't answered my question. I said God made man and woman in His own image. Are you
So
going to
I
ignore that?
say maybe only
Are
in
you
the
going to
case of
ignore that?
value, that if we have some values embedded. Yeah, we
This is the
value
main reason.
justice,
This is the
love,
main reason.
only in
This
this
is
way. But as consciousness, yes, we are completely different type. We no, I disagree. We we have different type of consciousness.
no. You haven't answered my question. Yeah, you haven't really answered my question. The reason why I believe humans and animals are different in hierarchies are different is because God made man in His own image. God made man in His own image. Huh? And there's one more thing we need to clarify. If you read Genesis chapter 9, still verses 3 to 4, God said something which wasn't present at the beginning. He said, "And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast on the earth." Do you realize that? And the
Uh,
fear and the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast on the earth. Immediately after the flood, God installed fear of man into animals. Before the flood, men and humans and animals were kind of coexisting peacefully. You get that? And still, going back to Genesis 1, you will realize that it was Adam who gave gave names to animals. Then God said, I have seen among all the animals, no one is fit for him. Then he made the woman. What I'm trying to say is, before the flood in the days of Noah, humans and animals were coexisting peacefully on a vegetarian diet.
mhm,
After the flood, due
mhm,
to man's sin, because of man's sin, God said, "And the fear of you and the dread simply means having being scared, and the
mhm.
dread of you shall be upon every beast." After the flood, God installed a sense of fear and basically God installed a sense of fear into animals, so animals became scared of men. This wasn't happening before the flood. This happened after.
Yes,
That
but
is
can you
why
please
that is
answer
why
me?
I
Mhm.
can't. That is why you and I cannot just walk into a lion's den, because we will get eaten. But trust me, before the flood, we would have just walked peacefully and had even a conversation, because the world was very different before the flood. So what I'm trying to say is, it is very true, that the initial plan for God, the initial and primal plan that God had for man, was based on a vegetarian diet. I agree with you on that.
Mhm.
But after the
But
flood,
I
things
really
changed.
require from you one answer. If you say
Yeah, go
that
on.
we are so special that we were made
Yeah.
in image of God, and we are only us, we are His children.
Mhm.
So, does He have the right to create somebody only to come to suffer to feed his children? Do you have the right to kill neighbor to feed your child? Do you have such right? Because this is your child. Your child is somebody special to you. Yeah, you have a child. He's special. So do you have a right, any right to harm anybody else to feed your child? Does the God has the right to give us animals to feed us? Does
Yes,
he have this right?
he gave us the right in Genesis chapter 9.
But
But
does
he
he
but
have such right? How he will reward, how he will pay back those animals their life sacrifice? Because
well, he can.
they are sacrificing their life to feed us. How he will reward them? What is
and,
the God's plan for
and what
them?
if what if when they die they go to heaven?
They go to heaven, yes?
No, what if when they die they will go to heaven and live forever? Would that be waste? Would that be a waste?
Um,
Would that be a waste of life?
if there is a reward, I
Do you
hope
know?
there
Do
is a
you know?
reward. Actually,
Do
I
you know
strongly
Prophet
believe there is a
Isaiah?
reward for them.
Do you
Yes.
do you know that Prophet Isaiah in the Bible, in the Old Testament, saw a vision of the new world in which humans and lions, a baby and a lion, were playing. A lamb and a lion will eat straw, which is they will eat grasses. You get
but
it?
because he but
And this
because
is a
of the fact that
futuristic
he
vision.
fed us with them with their flesh, they must be then higher than us, because justice demands this, that if we were fed by their flesh, then they must be higher than us, then we
Sorry,
must become
wait, no, wait,
their
wait, wait.
slave.
There is a
That
bit
is
of
justice. Justice
no, no, no,
demands,
no, no.
justice
There
demands
is
to be just. Yes, if we are
a bit
fed
of
by them,
misconception.
then there must be the opposite. We must, I don't know, kiss their feet, become their
No,
slaves. They
no,
must
no.
be
I
higher
think
than us.
I think there's a bit of misconception. Just because you eat something, that doesn't mean it's higher
But
than
not
you.
something, someone. You eat someone.
Someone or someone or an animal.
Animal is someone, is a conscious being, is a person, yes? Has personality. Have you
Just
ever
because
had a
they are,
dog
just
or,
just because an animal is sentient, that
mhm.
doesn't mean that doesn't mean their life should be valued as the one of a human.
It's
Just
absolute.
be,
It's
just
absolute. And the science shows us that every point of reference is
I disagree.
equal.
I
Everything
disagree.
is absolute.
What do you mean by absolute? What do you mean?
There is the value of life is absolute, is always 100%. There is no like less life, more life. Each life, each soul is always 100% of value, is 100% of life in this living being.
Do you know that?
Always
Do you know that?
for the life for pig is 100%, and the
Do you
the
know?
value is, to judge the value of pig's life, you must ask pig. Only pig can tell you how much is the value of her life or his life.
Sorry.
It's always
This is
absolute.
this is a bit strange. I mean, firstly, you said some. So for you, this is so strange. Wait a second. Firstly, what did you say? Go on, just go on.
Now, I said that each life is always absolute. There is no like half life, 10% life. It's not that you are, let's say, you are 80% of life, and I don't know, horse is 50% of life, and monkey is 60, and I don't know, and a rat is 10% of life. There is no such a thing.
Do
Everybody
you
who
realize?
has possess consciousness and uh, has perception of the world and has a sentience, it's always, the life is 100%. Everybody has 100% of life and value his own life 100%.
Do you know that if our respective ancestors, if my ancestors or your ancestors, were vegans, I don't think we would be here right now.
Why?
They
Why?
wouldn't have been held. They wouldn't have been held enough.
Why?
You need animal protein to survive. A
We
vegan,
don't need, and this is scientifically proven.
you
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 don't need.
partly you partly need both animal and plant, not just plant. You can
But
see. You
unfortunately,
see,
this is
this
not
is
true. But this is dietitian. So I think this is not this conversation. We are only to. I only wanted to have conversation tonight about justice, whether
all right. All right.
justice is
All
a
right. So
feature
you want
of
to
God
maintain
or
it on
not.
on a biblical perspective, you mean?
Not only biblical, also not only biblical, also philosophical. Because we cannot
Well,
just judge reality based on the Bible, because I told you, like I said, Jesus believes that we have this sense of justice and recognition, which is evil, which is good, embedded in our nature.
yeah, and that is why if a man is starving of hunger and wants to feed his family by killing a cow, he's not committing a sin. If he doesn't do that, his family will go hungry. If he values the cow more than he values his family, huh?
Not more. You must find
You,
the like optimal solution
is he
in
is he going
very
to
critical
is he
situation.
look if his
You
son
should
is
find the best
listen
solution.
listen
If a
listen
family is
eh
happy,
listen
get them some
listen
beans,
if his
rice,
son
bread.
no if his son is dying if his son requests for meat, huh, are you going to give him flowers to eat? No.
But there is no request. Do you know that the meat? But no, okay, this is a health. This is different topic.
Yeah,
Uh,
but you see, we have to cover. You see, it comprises lots of things. Huh? It's almost impossible not to go into the scientific aspect of it. If we keep talking of the philosophical aspect, we will never be truthful. You get it? Huh? You get me?
you should also check dietitian issues, because this is not true. The whole nations grew up on the vegan diets, and they are like the longest
Not
living
all nations.
nations. And you know that meat
You
is
see?
the
Huh?
main
I
main
am not.
cause of cancer, of heart disease, of
You
death,
see?
basically of
What
death.
I am saying?
Vegans are living longer.
What I am saying, I am not against veganism. I myself I eat salad, but I am against the exclusivity of veganism. Just living life on a plant-based diet. I
Mhm.
don't think it's possible. I believe in a balanced diet in a diet based on plant and animal, in a well balanced diet of both plants and animal. I do not believe in an exclusivity of each. You get it? I believe in a combination of both, not an exclusivity of plants or an exclusivity of animal diet. No, no. I believe a combination of both could ensure a more healthy life, not just based on plants. It has to be well balanced. I am not a physician. I'm actually studying criminology with psychology, so I can't actually postulate anything right now because that's not my field. I'm studying criminology with
Mhm.
psychology. But of course, as I told you, I grew up in a Christian family. I had a Christian upbringing, and I have a passion for this. As you can see, I gesticulate a lot. It's an Italian thing. I grew up in Italy, so I tend to gesticulate a lot. What I'm saying, I advocate for a plant and animal diet regimen to ensure both a skeletal and muscle function. Some time ago on YouTube, I came across this guy they call the vegan lifter, whatever. The vegan gains is a
Vegan
bodybuilder.
guys.
Yeah,
Mm.
who claims to
How
be
about
100%
maybe there are other
gluten free.
channels like Elslinkert? Maybe you can
You
check.
see, to
Yeah,
me,
vegan guys is kind of aggressive. Yes, he's
ve-
aggressive.
ve-
He's
vegan gains for me is a bit of an hypocrite. He's probably lying because you can't gain muscle mass by
no,
just eating vegetables.
you can, absolutely you
No,
can.
you can't. You can't.
Absolutely you
Listen,
can.
you
I,
cannot
I
gain a
gained much weight on
significant.
veganism. My son also, and he's training, and he has good muscles.
No,
Uh,
you cannot gain
of
a
course, this is not
significant muscle
problem.
mass.
This is very, very
You
easy.
cannot gain a significant muscle mass with just basing your
No,
diet on
you only need a sufficient amount of protein, and of course you can build muscles on any protein, because
it
muscles
depends.
don't recognize where those protein come from,
It
because anyway you
depends.
digest and you are building your own muscles and your own protein from amino acids, not from protein. So your body doesn't care where the animal amino acids come
Yeah,
from.
but it depends. It depends. Well, I'm not here to discuss about the vegan whatever it's
Yes, yes,
called
we are not
the
talking
channel.
about diet.
Well, yeah, I need to kind of emphasize on something. I am against animal abuse. Huh? For
Mhm.
me, if I'm walking down the street and I see maybe some kids being mean to an animal, kicking an animal for absolutely no good reason whatsoever, just to 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 satisfy a sadistic need of beating an animal or for absolutely no reason. I will be against that because even in criminology, it has been proved that that a lots of serial killers started from killing animals by torturing animals. I need to put this on quotes: torturing
Mhm.
animals. Most serial killers in their childhood started by torturing animals. Torturing, put this in quote. And it's an indication of a violent nature, and the spirit of God is not present in a violent person.
Mhm.
You get that? You get that?
Mhm.
God, there is a in life there is always a duality. The Bible says that God considered David his son. God loved David. God Himself called David the man after my own heart.
Mhm.
But God as well did not permit David to build the temple because He said, David, you are a man of war. Your hands are stained with blood. Because David was a soldier, you know this. He killed lots of people. God loved David, but he also did not permit David from building a temple because he said, David, your hands are stained with blood. So there is a duality to God. There is a duality. You can't just ignore that. Huh? You have to pay attention to that. And as I've said before, things were very different in the pre-flood era, before the flood. Men and animals,
Things were also
they,
different 50 years ago, where animals were being bred in a village and hens were walking in the yard. So also some years ago,
or
things
even
were completely different. I really ask you, if the only result of our
and
today's
also you
conversation is
also
that you
you
will
also
watch Dominion, I will be glad. I would like you to
I will. But
be more aware what is happening, what we are
I am
fighting
aware.
against. Yes,
I
because
am
I
aware. But
think
as
you're
I've said this,
aware. Mhm.
I see vegans as social justice warriors. There is
Mhm.
no need um, to label someone as a heartless monster, as a heartless monster just because he or she eats meat. No, it's wrong. It's wrong.
No, I don't think I don't know personally such vegans because we don't have this kind of vegans in my country.
That's basically 90% of vegans. You may
No, because no, because we have quite many vegans in my country, but they are unfortunately they are not vocal at all. So they are like the opposite. So maybe they are very vocal in UK. In Poland, they are very silent, very peaceful, and too much. I think they will never do anything like this. What you are describing. So
for how long? For how long have you been a vegan?
for 1.5 year.
So before you were vegan, you obviously ate meat, right?
Yes, I also ate meat. Yes.
Does that make you an evil
I was
person?
like you. No, not like you. Of course, I was not like you, but I mean, I was omnivore. But
Omnivore.
actually, no. Honestly speaking, I ate meat rather occasionally because I never liked meat. So I would say that even when I
And you
was
say it's
eating,
not
I
just
was
about
eating
it's not
seldom, not like other
it's not
people.
it's not just about meat. Animal products as well. Milk,
Yes, animal
honey.
products, yes. So I would say I ate meat occasionally, eggs also, but more
Milk,
frequently I used to eat yogurts and
milk.
milk, cheese, this kind of
You see,
rather
and
dairy.
the reason why I said no one can be 100% vegan is because there is a degree of hypocrisy. Do you know that in a certain way,
Uh,
meat, a fish. You know what the pescatarian diet is?
so
Pescatarian
this
diet.
is this is
Fish.
completely opposite of vegan. This is yeah, we hate this because
You know what is pescatarian? Those who eat
yeah, this
fish.
is terrible thing, you know.
We
This
have
is
some vegans
opposite.
who be,
We have
we have some
fish is
vegans
of
who eat
course is
fish.
sentient being, so we are fighting with this absolutely.
There is always a degree of hypocrisy in almost every vegan.
But
Almost
this is
every.
okay. So pescatarian, this is okay. This is opposite of veganism. Yes. So veganism,
Not the
basically,
opposite.
veganism is
Some
called
vegans advocate for pescatarianism. Some vegans
no
advocate
against,
some.
strongly against,
Some advocate
strongly
it. I have
against.
seen some videos.
No, vegans are fighting with consumption of fish a lot.
Not well.
Absolutely,
Well, maybe.
absolutely.
Well, I would say you have some lukewarm vegans who actually advocate for it as an
So they
option.
are not vegans. No, they are not vegans. So vegans are against, no, basically you are right that nobody is pure 100% vegan, because there are animal derived products like everywhere around us, and even you are buying a vegan product, but you don't know even what method it was produced. So there must be some so-called crop death in it. So we know that there is nothing like pure vegan. This is what we are fighting for. So nobody can call himself a pure vegan, but I would rather say that veganism is, for me, is an act, rather an act of a better choice than you can call a person vegan. I think veganism is something what happens when I make the
Ksenia,
choice, like the better choice. I don't, not only in the shop, it's not only about I will buy this, not this. It's at every moment of life, when you are making the better choice for the animals. For example, during election, you are choosing the politicians who are sensitive about animal faith. This is veganism. You select the politician. You are voting for the politician who has this sensitivity about animals. So it's
so let me let,
various moments of
let
life you
me
are making vegan choices. So
let me
there are
ask you
vegan
something.
choices, no vegan people, I think.
Let me ask you something. So,
Yes.
what is your main goal as a vegan? What is your main goal?
You mean as long as I am
I mean,
alive, is
yeah, you're as a vegan.
as a
What is
vegan?
your ultimate goal as a vegan? Your ultimate goal?
Uh,
Would you like all slaughterhouses to be closed or something?
Of course I would like, but I know this is not going to happen soon. So me, I'm
Definitely.
rather focused on changing the human perception of animals, to start value their life, to start understanding that they are conscious beings, that they are similar to us, that
They are not
we
similar to
must
us.
work about awareness
They are
about
not similar to
sensitivity.
us.
And also a huge part of my veganism is pray. I'm praying for animals
One more,
constantly every day.
one more thing. I noticed in the previous one of the previous debates you had. What's your perception of Jesus? What's your perception of God? Because I don't really understand where you stand at. What's your perception of God? What's your perception? I mean, are you
My
a Christian?
perception, I told you, I
I,
think we know he has different type of consciousness than we do. So this is I'm sure of. So if about Jesus, I told you that his thinking became part of me, because I had been contemplating his words for many years, and his way of thinking, of judging reality, became part of me. I have like his type of sensitivity, but at the moment, okay, and for a long time also I think it's people are claiming too much about they know. They say the life is like this, or afterlife is like this. People are claiming too much, and I think this is the sin of organized religions. Because, for example, someone is becoming guru on a priest, and when disciples are coming, or believers are coming, they are asking questions. So instead of honestly saying, "I don't know," I cannot answer you this. I don't know, because there should be majority of answers should sound, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. But they start creating something because they think, okay, I am at the position of a guru or priest. They pay me money. So this is
so you mean
corruption.
people? You
So
mean
they
people?
say they know things which they don't know. They
So
claim way too
you
much.
mean
So me, I'm in the position that I say, I don't know, I don't know. I prefer to say I don't know, and to say I know something when I really know something.
so you
So
mean
about Jesus, I would say
religious? You
yes.
mean religious leaders should stop acting sanctimonious, right? They should stop acting like they know it all. What you
Yes,
mean?
they know when
You
they
know,
don't
I
know.
believe
Like we know very little about reality. We know very little.
about
So
reality.
I think I was able to prove a debate that the God exists. So this I was able to prove. But to tell how he operates, to even imagine how the consciousness operates without time, wow, it's something I am contemplating. But to even describe, to even get close to be able to imagine this is so incredible. So I rather prefer to say I don't know, but uh,
so.
actually,
Basically, you do not believe in the Christian God. You see, we have three.
yes, I would say so, because
We have
it's
three monotheistic religions in the world: Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. We
Mhm.
all we all claim to believe in. We all believe in the same God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We are the three Abrahamic religions. So you do not believe in the Christian God or in the Islamic God or in the
Actually,
Judaism.
yes, I think
In what God do you believe in? Because I've noticed your perception of God is a bit different from the one
yes,
I thought you had.
it's absolutely different, because I think this God described in the Bible has too many human features. For example, he's revengeable, he's taking revenge, he's cruel, he's sadistic. Those are human features. I
Do you know
don't
why? Can I
believe
tell
the
you
God
something?
who created the
Can,
universe would
can I
have
tell you
such
something?
features.
Do you know why God has human features? You know why it seems to have human features? Huh?
Yes. Mhm.
It is not that God. It is not that God has human features. We, the humans, have a God-like feature. God is capable of
So
feeling emotions.
we are
God, listen, listen,
sadistic
listen,
because
listen,
the
huh?
God is
Listen,
sadistic.
listen. God wouldn't give humans what He doesn't have. If God is capable of getting angry, He will place both all types of emotions in humans. God would not give humans what He cannot understand. God will give humans what He Himself owns and understands. That's why humans are capable of both getting angry and both being happy. According to the Bible, there are moments of joy, moments of sadness, moments of sorrow. God gave us emotions because He Himself has emotions. You get
But
this?
I'm sorry, but this kind of emotions like angriness, anger, and so those require operating in space-time, because you are anger after getting a wrong message stimuli. Something bad happens to you first. So next, your reaction is, this is always a reaction to something. So first of all, you must have physical, materialistic brain. You must have mass to operate. First of all, the first condition to operate in time, to have this type of consciousness, you must have body, you must have mass, you must be materialistic. So then you operate. Okay, something bad happened to me, so my reaction is anger. But for God, everything is all together at once. He doesn't experience time, so he
No,
cannot have this
wait a
kind of
second.
emotions. It's
You just
impossible.
said God doesn't experience. You
Doesn't
just said
experience
God.
time because he.
What makes you? No,
No,
What
to
makes you think that?
experience time, you must have body, you must be physical. You cannot be so-called
No,
ghost or spirit.
God is
You
a
cannot.
spiritual being. He sees things from a
If he's
multidimensional
a spiritual
perspective,
being, he cannot experience this kind of emotions. He cannot
and that
operate
is
time
why,
and experience time.
and that is why He sent Jesus, His Son, on earth to live in a human form, to feel pain, because He died a painful death. He obviously died a painful death. They stoned Him, they spat on Him, and they crucified Him. His Son, God sent Jesus basically to prove to humans that He Himself, that His Son is capable of feeling pain and live life as human as possible. Jesus Himself, when He was at the cross of Calvary, He screamed, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani,
Mhm,
which simply means, my God, why have you forsaken me?
mhm.
Why hast thou forsaken me? Jesus was feeling pain as human. God allowed Jesus to feel pain as human as possible in that very moment. You get it? For the remissions of
So
sins of
as
human.
human, you must absolutely, honestly, to be honest, you must say, as
And that
human,
is
as
why I
above all, as animals, because this is what animals are suffering every day.
animals
So
aren't humans.
Jesus understands what animals are suffering. So every day in
Animals
slaughterhouses
aren't
is
humans.
Calvaria, yes? We have
Animals aren't
Golgotha every
humans.
day in slaughterhouses.
Animals
So
aren't humans.
doesn't matter, but they feel exactly the same. They experience the same what Jesus experienced. What is difference between Jesus' experience
Let me give you an
and
example.
animal experience?
Let me give you an example. Trees are living. You know this very well.
Yeah, but
Trees
he
live.
experienced something horrible.
Trees live. Trees live, right?
Ah, trees, yes.
So me picking an apple from a tree, does it cause it pain?
No, we don't have any information
What makes
about
you think?
this.
What makes you think about that? What makes you think that me
Because
picking
he
an
doesn't
apple?
have, actually, we don't know. Honestly speaking, we don't know, but we know that they don't have brains, they don't have all those chemicals which are responsible for stress, for pain. So
Well, that's
everything,
true.
they don't have this kind of
That's
nerves we do
true.
have. So
That's true. But they are not humans. Animals are not humans. I just use the tree as kind of allegory to give an example. But animals are not humans. This is the
but are
problem.
exactly the same as us. They feel pain exactly the same
Well,
as us or more,
no, they are
stronger. They get
sentient.
stronger.
They are sentient beings.
Yes,
They are
like
sentient, no
us,
doubt.
exactly
They are
like us.
creatures like us, but they're not like us. They're not humans.
They
They are
are not
creatures.
us, but they suffer like us and like Jesus. There is
And
no difference between Jesus on the cross and a pig in the slaughterhouse.
this is
It's the
so wrong.
same.
What you
The
just said now
event
is
is the
considered a
same kind of
blasphemy.
event.
What you just said now is considered a blasphemy. The reason why I will not get angry, even though what you just said now is a blasphemy, is because I'm trying to be politically correct. What you just did, what you just said now, comparing, I mean, placing Jesus at the same level with an animal being killed in the slaughterhouse is blasphemy. But for the sake of being politically correct and diplomatic, I will not say, I will not get angry. Huh? No worries about that.
Okay, okay.
But I have
Animals are
seen that. I have
innocent.
seen that.
They are
I have.
innocent. If they are innocent, they are holy. They are holy. They are holy. They are innocent. The value of their life is absolute. And suffering is suffering. You cannot say your suffering is important, but this person's suffering is not important. For me, suffering is suffering. The
I
same
am.
thing
I
happens is
am
the same.
against. I am against animal abuse. I am against animal abuse. But I am not against slaughtering animals to feed humans. I am not against that. I am against unnecessary killing and unnecessary sadistic poking of animals and killing them for absolutely no reason. But if the reason you slaughter an animal is to feed, then for me it's not a sin. This is where I stand. I stand at an intermediate line. You get it? So to
Mhm.
you, you may see me today.
Yeah.
Your perception of me today may be neutral, huh? Your perception of you. But I'm sure the Christian viewers, because I'm sure you might have some Christian viewers, will agree with me. But you might see me as neutral, or maybe a bit evil. I don't know what's a perception of me, but let it be so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, no, I am not the person who is judging, because in fact what you suggested, that probably animals are living. Actually, I've been praying a lot for the animals, and I received many
To what
answers,
God? To
response
God?
from
To
God, and
what God?
I realized that God is very sensitive about
To what
animals.
God were you praying? To what God were you praying?
To God,
Which God?
which is justice, which is love. So it's like,
I
uh,
think from the little I've gotten from you, I think your views kind of you seem to gravitate towards more towards the Hindu view of God, the Hindus.
doesn't
That's
matter,
your
because I told you I want to define as little as possible. I am just praying, I'm begging for for example, intervene, for help, for, to, like, anyone in heavens, let's say heavens, who are as sensitive as I am, as just as I am, as loving as I am, as merciful as I am. So I think anybody who is there, either angels, either whoever, God or angels, I don't care, whoever who
well.
resonate with my
So
sensitivity is answered,
um,
and I get my response, and many miracles
so
happened.
so
So
your
I
hope
made sure that animals are so precious.
your hope and dream is that one day men, humans, and animals will coexist peacefully, right?
I hope that, no, my hope
We
is
coexist
not in
peacefully without
future. I
anyone.
hope that every chicken, every pig who has ever been slaughtered by human will get his or her reward, and I will
And
meet
that
her,
is why, and that is,
and I will give her my love, and I will say, I'm so sorry.
do you know why
I
I'm
will
raising,
meet
do
her.
you
I
know
want to
why I
meet
am
each single
thumbing you
chicken
up?
in heaven.
Do you know why I'm thumbing you up? Huh? Do you know why? It's because you partly believe in what is written in the Bible. If you read the book of Isaiah in your free time, 65, Isaiah 65, please note it down. Isaiah 65, verses 25. He sees the exact same vision you have. Men and humans and animals coexisting peacefully in heaven someday, in a futuristic time. Someday. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 65, verse 25, God will restore things as they were in the beginning. That is, men and humans and animals coexisting peacefully with a vegetarian diet, with a plant diet.
Hmm.
There will be no more. There will be no more slaughtering and no more bloodshed. Just
But tell me,
vegetarian.
will there
But
be
this
any
will
future
be
animals, or the
in
same
the future.
souls which had already suffered the slaughter? Is it the same chicken which you ate maybe today, or pig, or I don't know what you ate today or yesterday? Do you believe that you will meet this particular meat, this particular pig in heavens, and you will say, I'm sorry, or you will see what?
I have no reason to apologize to a chick. I mean, I have no reason to apologize. Why should I? When God has given me dominion over animals, I have no reason to apologize for eating a
So who
chicken
will
nugget.
apologize? Because they absolutely require apologize. Somebody
No,
must apologize. Who,
they do
who
not
should?
require.
God should apologize. Jesus should apologize. Maybe Jesus
No,
should get
no,
slaughtered again to apologize to animals.
no. Your
No,
perception
who
of
will
Christ is very
apologize? Tell
distorted.
me. No,
Your perception
justice
of Christ is
reminds. Okay,
distorted.
we can live peacefully with animals, but first we must apologize. Who will apologize?
What makes you think we need to apologize to animals, for goodness
Because
sake?
we did harm, horrible harm. We must apologize first, or maybe justice must go first, and then we can live peacefully. This is
No.
harm. We are doing them harm. We must either apologize, and it's up to them whether they forgive them or not. They must decide if they forgive. Not God. God cannot forgive for them. They must decide. Do they forgive?
What makes you think? What makes you think that God cannot
Because
forgive?
they suffered harm, not God. You are apologizing the one who you did a harm to, or the one just, for example, you did a harm to, let's say, Robert. So you will go apologize Natasha, or you will go apologize Robert. You must apologize always the one you did harm to.
Animals are not humans. They're not as logical as humans, and they're not at the same level of intelligence with humans. I do not need to apologize to an animal. I do not need to apologize to an animal, and no one needs to apologize to an animal. No one needs to.
But
No one needs
justice
to.
demands it. So then we
What
cannot
makes you?
say
What justice? What
justice
justice?
exists.
What justice?
Justice is
What?
that everybody gets what he deserves, what he did to another. Animals received what they don't deserve. They don't deserve such fate. What makes you think they deserve be slaughtered?
God gave man the permission to eat meat, so they can
But
be killed.
that's God. Okay, I think
Have you
I think
forgotten
this may
something?
be
If you
enough
read
for
it,
today. We said so much,
you
you know.
see, have you forgotten something that God Himself, if you read Abel, the story of Abel,
Mhm.
God appreciated Abel's sacrifice, sacrificing an animal. The Bible says that when Abel sacrificed the lamb,
Yes,
the
and
saint
that's
went
one
up
of
to
the
God.
reasons I must reject Bible because
So
it's
you're not a
against
Christian.
justice.
You're not a Christian. That's why we would never come to an agreement, or we can agree to disagree. You get it?
Yes,
We can
yes.
agree to
At least I
disagree.
appreciate that we can talk peacefully.
Yeah.
And don't think, please, at least don't go away with such impression that that all vegans are judgmental. Not all. Maybe you
Oh
made
well,
some.
most are self-righteous
No,
people.
not
The
even
ones I have met are
most.
self-righteous. Most they seem to point fingers, always making people,
No,
always making
no. You
carnivores
met
seem like a villain.
how many such people you've met? How many? How many
Well, the
people
ones
you
that
were finger pointed?
well, I wouldn't say I've met. I've known two, but the ones I see mostly on YouTube videos, they seem to be pointing fingers all the time and trying to paint people who eat meat as some sort of heartless monsters for eating meat. I mean, that's being oversensitive for me. They've
I
just been
think,
just
yeah, I think
oversensitive.
because you just watched maybe vegan guy, so he's like a very
I,
specific
I,
person.
I,
So there are many more vegans. Do you know why he's so popular? Because he's many anti-vegans are constantly talking about him. They are making videos about him, so that makes his position higher and higher, makes him more and more popular. So he's created by not by vegans that much as by anti-vegans, because they are constantly talking about him. So people who are like peaceful or logical, or they are not promoted but by anti-vegans that much. Therefore, you know only those specific individuals. But
so,
believe me, in my country there are no such vegans like you are telling me. And
what did you
most
say? Sorry.
vegans are Catholic, are Christians here in my country. Yes.
What?
So
Sorry, most
I
vegans.
said that
Sorry.
most vegans in my country are Christians, are Catholic Christians, because yes, most. So there doesn't need to be a fight between us. And so, okay, I think I am glad that at least we had some conversation.
Oh
Of course,
well,
we didn't convince, but at least we could talk. This is something, and I will really truly appreciate if you watch this movie Dominion. Maybe later in chat you will tell me what you think about this movie. And
yeah. But you see, I still want to just lay emphasis on something, huh?
yeah,
Which is this Bible, because I am a Christian. I believe in God and I believe in Jesus, and I just want to emphasize for the Christian vegans watching right now, 1 Corinthians 8:13. It is not that in 1 Corinthians 8:13. It is not that Apostle Paul, Saint Paul, is advocating a vegetarian diet. He simply, if you read it well, what he means to Paul, abstaining from meat is simply a way of not offending a vegetarian brotherhood or a vegetarian community. He never said it was an explicit command from God to be vegan.
yes. So
So
therefore,
so
it's
so
kind of
wait. So
meaningless.
I just wanna
It's
let you
only
know,
about
I just
being diplomatical. So this
diplomatic
is
and politically correct,
yeah.
which I am.
So this is okay. Okay, at least you follow this advice. So this is, let's say, this is already
Yeah.
something.
Well,
I
and
think.
I think you should try and kind of understand. figure out your own perception of God, because you just can't stand at. You don't seem to believe in the Christian God. You don't believe in the Judaic God. Or I
No,
don't know what God you believe in.
I used to be a
I,
Christian. I used to be
you see,
Christian. I was even in a monastery. I used to be a monk, so I was deeply Christian. But now I see too much contradiction, which I don't feel like to explain
I feel
more.
like
That
I feel.
because Christians are because, but you know, we see sadistic scenes in the Old Testament, and the Christians are because it's historical. Because you know, and I'm tired and fed up of this explaining why there
Yeah,
is
but
so
that's
much
the.
contradiction. So I prefer to say, I don't know. I don't take it.
Yeah, but you cannot keep on picking certain Bible verses to support yourself and ignoring
but
all this. You know,
yeah. So without picking, you see that the Old Testament is like the whole book of Leviticus, or how you call it, Leviticus, I think. Yes,
Leviticus. Yeah, Leviticus.
is no, it's horrible. There is no justice. The God is, you know, presented as sadistic guy
God
who
is not
gets
sadistic.
pleasure from the
God is not sadistic.
victims,
That's your
from
perception of
torturing
God.
victims. It's horrible.
No, where
I
does it say?
cannot,
Where does it say that God touches victims? Where does it say in the Bible?
because
It is not.
you know this is about
It is your
making
own
sacrifice of
perception.
animals, and
Yeah,
always God
I believe you are
enjoys
making your
this.
own God. You are making your
Why
own God.
God enjoys this? Why God appreciates? He should be
No. What makes you
disgusted by
think?
this.
What makes you
He
think that
should.
God enjoys it? What makes you
What?
think that God enjoys it? What makes
Okay,
you
in
think?
Polish translations, it is. I didn't read it in English. I read it in Polish, and in Polish, it's always that he enjoyed the smell of
No,
burned
no,
victim. So this
no,
was.
no. Your perception of
This
God
is
is a
like
bit
a
distorted.
description of devil, not love God. This is like
No,
this only devil could do such thing.
no. Your perception of God is a bit distorted. But I don't want to judge you, but I feel like your perception of God is distorted. You should try and read the
So
Bible
why
thoroughly.
God told people to make those animal sacrifices? Why?
It's for an atonement for sin. That is why I said
But
that the
did
coming of
those
listen,
animals
listen,
make
listen,
those sin?
listen,
Is it
listen,
justice?
listen. The reason why God told man to sacrifice animals, specifically lambs, cows, herbivorous animals, and not carnivorous animals. Pay attention to this.
Hmm.
God accepted lambs and cows. Have you ever asked yourself why in the Bible God never requested for lions and wolves? Do you know why?
Yeah, too
Because they're
difficult
carnivorous.
to because
They are
priests
carnivorous. They are
wanted to
carnivorous
eat them, and
animals.
they were realistic. They
Listen,
knew that
listen,
they will not hunt
listen,
the
listen.
lion.
God never requested lions or wolves because they're carnivorous animals that feed on flesh. But God requested herbivorous animals, mostly lambs and cows, because they don't feed on flesh, and therefore they don't kill and they're sinless. That is why God loves what is sinless. That is why He accepted lambs as an atonement for sins. And it is written nowhere in the Bible that God accepted lions or dogs or carnivorous animals, because carnivorous animals eat flesh and they shed blood. God only
Okay,
accepted herbivorous
but
animals.
did the lamb
And one more
also
thing, and
accept
one
it
more
to be
thing.
killed?
Of
Did
course,
this
yes.
lamb accept it to be killed?
God has given man dominion over animals. And if look, look,
Did
they,
God
they are
have
high.
the right to do this?
Of course, He
Did God
created
have
animals
the right
Himself.
to do this?
God made everything in the
So,
universe. God made everything.
so
Just
you
like He has.
think that He has a right to do everything? Yes, He has the right
If
to
He,
to
if He made
to
anything,
bring
He's the one that.
something to existence from peaceful
Yeah.
non-existence, bring to existence to experience being slaughtered and burned. You think it's okay? Yes, I think it's
I
not
did. I
okay.
did. I didn't say it's okay. And one more thing, it all depends on the reason for your action. The reasons for your action.
But
If
those
you keep,
reasons must be related to what the lamb did.
if you're
Lamb did
in the Old Testament,
nothing.
no, your perception is distorted. Is distorted. God accepted lambs for sacrifice for an atonement for sin, for an atonement for people's sin.
But
That is the
people
main reason.
sin, not lamb sin. Why? How? There is the opposite of being just. It's unfair. Lamb didn't commit sin. So
Oh,
he
that's
had
good.
no right to kill lamb because it was not lamb's sin.
You see, the forgiveness of sin requires blood. Huh?
But
Listen,
blood
wait,
of the
wait,
one who,
listen,
the sinner,
listen,
not
please, listen,
lamb.
listen. When Cain killed Abel and his blood fell on the floor, what did God say to Cain? God said, "Your brother's blood is crying unto me." When Cain killed Abel and Abel's was gushing of blood and blood was coming out from Abel, God said, "Cain, you killed your brother and your brother's blood is crying unto me." God is a multidimensional spiritual being. He sees things in a different way. Blood is life in God's eyes. That is why when men sin, because sin is very dirty in the eyes of God. In the Old Testament they use animals, the cut of their neck, and for blood to gush out. Blood is life, and blood cleanses. And that is why I say the
It's
Old
an
Testament. Listen,
additional
listen, listen, listen,
border,
listen,
not
listen. That is why
cleanse.
listen. That is why I said in the New Testament, with the coming of Christ and God and Christ being killed on the cross and losing lots of blood, that served as a dispensation to old laws. And then we do not need to kill animals again to request atonement for our sin. We simply believe in Jesus, who was used as the lamb. I know as a Christian, all I have said now will sound as a non-Christian, as you, a non-Christian, all I have said now will sound a bit mystical, strange,
Not
and
mystical
strange.
because I was deeply in Christianity, like I
Yeah,
told you,
but
but
yeah, but
I don't agree to
you
such thing
you
that
you have
when
seen
you
to have fallen away.
kill
You
one
seem to have fallen
person,
away.
then you need to kill another person to make it
Oh, this is the
fair.
mistake. You said another person,
So
not a human,
he
not a
killed
person.
his brother, and to make it now fair, to cleanse it, you must kill one more person. So if you
No,
kill
oh my
two, it's
goodness.
okay. If you kill one,
No,
it's
no,
wrong.
listen, listen. You
He
you're saying
additionally killed lamb. So
no,
there are
no.
two
A lamb.
murders.
I have seen something. You tend to refer to animals as persons.
Of
Animals are not human,
course. And I
and
will
you will
never
always have this
agree
problem. You will
not to
always have
perceive
this.
animals
You
as
will
person.
you will always have this problem because you see animals as persons,
And
as
I
humans,
always will, and this is my mission to
and I will not.
people understand that animal is a person. Because if
No, it's
he's
not.
aware and self-aware, he's a
It's a
person.
living creature, no doubt. It's a living creature who is sentient,
Conscious.
but it
Conscious
is
and
not at the same.
self-conscious.
It is not at the same level with a human.
Doesn't matter. People are also not all at the same level. People are also at various levels.
Uh, I think we can agree to disagree. Yeah.
Yes, okay, no problem. So I think that was already a lot.
But
So
one little thing I have to tell you is I believe you should try and read the Bible thoroughly, not just the Old Testament. Huh? The New Testament is like a new beginning. The coming of
because
Christ,
New Testament I know pretty well.
what a
I've been for
dispensation.
many years. I was reading again and again.
It seems like you are skimming through the Bible, not reading to understand. You are just skimming, but not reading to understand. What I've seen is really an individualistic choice at the end of the day. I'm not here to force my views onto people. I'm just here to give my opinion, and that's all. I'm not here to force my view. As I've said before, I advocate for a well-balanced plant and animal diet regimen. That's what I advocate for a well-balanced plant and animal regimen, for the body to have a good skeletal and muscular and muscle function. That is what I advocate for, and that's it. I'm neither against vegans, and I'm neither against carnism. I just stand at an intermediate zone. You get me?
Mhm. Okay, thank you very much for today meeting. We
Oh,
said a
yeah.
lot. I think actually I didn't expect that any of us had any chance to convince another. There was no
It's very
chance.
unlikely, actually. It's
Sorry?
very unlikely. It's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
unlikely because one thing I've noticed about debates is that everybody thinks their perspective is better than another person's way of thinking, and that is the main problem here. Everybody thinks their pattern of thinking is better than another person's way of thinking, and that is the main cause of disagreement. That is the main cause of disagreement. There's always a little bit of pride in everybody.
I think it's for me it's valuable when we are able to have conversation, although we know that
You see,
our
you
point
see,
of view is so much different. But if we still are able to
yeah,
have a conversation, it's good because we know that there are much bigger barriers in the world.
yeah.
You know, we have
Personally,
Muslims who are aggressive. There are
personally
so many
myself,
groups.
I am never really aggressive because it is not my aim to win an argument or to have the last word. No, that is
Mhm.
not my aim. I am not here to win an argument or to have the last word. I just want to say my opinion, and if you see it as interesting and if you like it, I am not here to do my will but the will of God. And
Mhm.
if you're a Christian, I hope you will have faith. And I'm talking to the viewers, believe in the Lord and have faith and pray to the end, and that's it. Because these days people seem to jeopardize their health for the sake of their own personal belief, which is often distorted. But that's the way it is. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I will leave the link to Coffee's channel.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Oh,
whether
well,
in description, maybe
my
in
channel
first.
is
Sorry, go ahead.
my channel is three
Yes.
apologetics. Yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
three apologetics. I will comment once you post.
Anyway,
So
you will comment below so
yeah,
everybody can see your channel, can
I
go
will
to your
be
channel.
posting more. I will be posting more things about Christianity and spirituality as a whole. Yeah.
Yes,
So
it was
thank you
really nice to meet you, and
thank
I
you for
hope
giving me this opportunity
we
as
stay
well.
in touch on Skype. Just
Yeah.
I will be really looking forward to hear your opinion after
So
Dominion, and yeah. Okay, thank you so
it's a
much
nice
for
it was a
tonight,
nice
and
start. Yeah.
yeah, thank you all the
Yeah.
listeners. Bye bye, and see you.
Shalom.